Good morning, friends. What a blessing to be with you today. Why don't you stand to your feet? Let's praise. Come on. Sometimes you gotta dance through the darkness, sing through the fire, praise when it don't make sense. Sometimes you gotta stand down the giant, worship from the lion's den. Come on. Sometimes you gotta shout from the mountain, louder in the valley. Just
like our God. He's the only one that can bring dead things back to life. Whatever you're carrying today, lay it at the feet of Jesus. He's the only one worthy of our praise. And he's here. He's ready to move. Come on, let's worship. You embody the fullness of God, wrapped in mercy. You showed us your heart, your love upon the cross. Your love poured out for all. And there is no one like the Lord our God. You've been faithful every day of my life. I could search the world and never find another like you, another like you. Come on, every voice. You set a table. You invite us to come. Your body broken. Your blood was enough. And this love upon the cross. This love poured out for all. There is no one like the Lord our God. You've been faithful every day of my life. I could search the world and never find another like you. There is no one like the Lord our God. You've been faithful every day of my life. I could search the world and never find another like you, another like you. Oh, there is no one like you. Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the King, and worthy is the one who reigns forever, seated on the throne, high above it all. And everyone will know that you're like no other. Worthy is the Lamb, worthy is the King, worthy is the one who reigns, the King of praise, seated on the throne,
desperation, I turned to heaven and spoke your name into the night. And through the darkness, your loving kindness tore through the shadows of my soul. The work is finished, the end is written. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Who could imagine so great a mercy? What heart could fathom such boundless grace? The God of ages stepped down from glory to bear my sin and bear my shame. The cross has spoken, I am forgiven. The King of Kings calls me his own. Beautiful Savior, I'm yours forever. Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Then came the morning that sealed the promise. Your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on. Come on, church, let's sing that out. In the morning that sealed the promise, your buried body began to breathe. Out of the silence, the roaring lion declared the grave has no claim on me. Jesus is yours, it's the victory. It's the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Hallelujah, praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah, death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living hope. Jesus Christ, my living hope. God, you are my living hope. Amen. Praise Jesus. You guys, this sounded great. You can go ahead and have a seat.
Well, good morning, Springs. How was that? It's so good to see you guys. If you're joining us online, welcome to you. Thank you for making it to a computer screen. Hey, my name is Matt, and I get the privilege of serving here on staff here at the Springs. And I want to draw your attention to just a couple things. As you came in on your chair, you should have found this. We call it the Connect card. And the point of this card is it's very, very simple. We want to know you. We want to meet you. You see, here at the Springs, we believe that every single one of you matters to God. Every single one of you. And because of that, we want to make sure that anyone who walks through our doors gets connected with God and gets connected with the church. When you fill this out, it tells us, I wasn't sure what was going on there. I felt like the room was rumbling. It lets us know how we can best serve you and help you take what we call your best next steps here at the Springs. And speaking of next best steps, I want to introduce you to Enrique and Christine Gago. They were just a lot like some of you probably, just coming to the Springs every now and then on a Sunday, but probably not getting involved and kind of flying under the radar. And not long ago, they made the decision to take their next best steps. Take a look.
I'm Christine.
And I'm Enrique Gago. I actually came to the Springs a couple years ago. One day she said if I can come, and I said of course.
There was a service that Pastor Ron was giving about how we should do more with the church and do more than just attend on a Sunday, and that spoke to me.
They asked us if we wanted to do the welcome team, which is the first impressions outside. And, we said yes. We didn't hesitate. And it has been such a great time doing that, just meeting first-time comers and walking them and showing them around. We definitely started to serve more. We definitely started to give more. And I feel that because of those things, not trying to expect anything back, it was more of trusting in God to do what he needs to do with those resources. Putting God first in everything we did, it just helped us. And it's not easy. You have to work on it every day.
Having, somebody like me and Enrique walking you up and introducing you and showing you around, and what gets me excited is seeing them come back. That makes me want to continue to participate, makes me want to continue to give, makes me want to continue to show up every Sunday and stand in the front lines.
Sometimes we don't see how blessed we are, and seeing the growth here, that God is doing wonders, and God is working. It's been an amazing experience, and I think that, God has a lot of good things in store for all of us. Just got to give it a shot.
You're going to want to come back every single week. And when you do, you'll see myself, you'll see Enrique, and we'll be there to welcome you, and we'll help you find your seat.
Yeah, give it up for the Gagos. Hey, I really recommend you guys do what that video said and go on our website and take a look at their whole story. That was just a teaser. Their story is awesome. Check that out, thesprings.net. And they are thriving, and they're very important members of our First Impressions team now. And if you've been around the Springs for any length of time, I guarantee you, week in and week out, they're out there greeting and seating hundreds of people every single week. You've probably already run into them. And we want to invite you to take the same next steps that they took. And it all starts with this card. Are you new here? There's a box that says, I'm new here. Please tell us. Do you want to get more involved with serving or maybe be baptized? This is your ticket. You can fill this out, and then you can leave this on your chair before you leave today, and we'll gather those up and be in touch with you this week. Or here's an even better idea. We have an area outside in the lobby called the deck. And every week out at the deck, we have staff and some of our pastors just out there greeting people between services. We would love to meet you there. You can bring this card to us directly. We would love to put the name to the face. And so we can't wait to meet you out at the deck. And if you are new, or maybe you've been around for a little bit and you'd like to get more involved, you've been flying under the radar, there is no better opportunity than what's coming up next week here at the Ocala campus, and that's called Connect. Connect is a time where we'll gather kind of more in a more intimate setting around tables. You'll hear from our staff and our pastors about our core values, the principles that guide everything we do here at the Springs. You'll hear about our past, our history, where we've been. You'll hear about how God is using the Springs to reach our communities today, as well as where we feel He is leading us in the future. You're not going to want to miss that. We will feed you while you're here. We will provide childcare at no cost to you. But this only happens about once a month, so don't let this opportunity pass you by. Don't miss out. Don't wait another month. If you're new or you want to get more involved, sign up for Connect. You can write Connect on your Connect card with your Connect pin and your Connect chair, and we'll be in touch with you this week to answer any questions you may have. We love worshiping with all you guys, and we're going to continue doing that with our time of giving. Remember what Enrique and Christine said. Not only did they find purpose in serving with our first impressions, but they also chose to take that bold step in beginning to give consistently and faithfully back to God the resources that He had blessed them with. You see, when we give, it's just as much an act of worship as singing songs together, as receiving messages together. It's just as much an act of worship. And when you give, it does several things. Well, the first thing it does is it tells God that He is first in every aspect of our life, especially our finances. It tells God that we trust that He is in control, that He is faithful, and that He is going to provide for our families. The second thing it does is your generosity, it fuels real life change. And that's not hyperbole. We see it day in and day out here at the Springs. God's grace and your generosity powers the ministries that changes the lives of the people in our communities forever. And you can be a part of that. You can be a part of it. You can give online at thesprings.net/giving. You can give using this QR code behind me, or maybe you prefer and are prepared to give today in the room. You can absolutely do that. We have giving boxes by the doors before you leave. Well, we are in a new series. We're ending our series called Spent. And we've been looking at the last few weeks, we've been looking at the importance of creating sustainable margin in every aspect of our lives. And Pastor Ryan Parquette is here to wrap that up for us this week, and he's going to be out here in just a few moments. But again, Springs, welcome. It is so good to worship with all of you. We are so glad you're here.
Well, good morning, and I'm so glad to be here with y'all. My name is Ryan, and I'm one of the pastors here on staff, and I just have the great privilege of working with this staff team every single week as we endeavor to share the good news of Jesus Christ with you guys and with our community, and we're just so thankful. And I gotta be honest, our staff team is incredible here. Like, I love them. We're a really tight-knit group. And one person in particular, Matt, who just did the welcome, he is a good dude. I just want to be honest with you. Like, he is the real deal. And you know, as you get closer with people, there can be a tendency to kind of just have a little more fun, right? And I'm going to be honest, one of the things that I love is a good office prank. And so Matt happened to be the recipient of this one, right? And in this, you see, Matt is a very straight edge guy. He's very logical. He's endearing. He's got a lot of heart. And so we just thought, you know, he decided to take a vacation, and that is just wrong, okay? So our production director, Ryan, he had an amazing, incredible idea. I don't know where he found these things, but he found this. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this? You can't even see it. I'm going to be honest with you, even if you could, I don't know what it is, right? Like, I don't know what the actual purpose of this device is other than to just be annoying. You see, Ryan, he figured this out. He ordered ordered 5 of these. And what this thing does is it makes noise in a variety of different methods, and it's incessant. It just keeps going. And so I just want to, so you can experience the noises for yourself, we have a video of him testing this out. Go ahead and play that video for me. Oh, This is some serious scientific research here, okay? Like, you'll notice that at first it's just kind of an annoying buzz, but then it starts to sound like a cricket. And that was the genius of this idea. See, the idea was to hide these throughout Matt's office while he was away. And so he comes back to all of these cricket noises that just keep going. And so he is targeted for this cricket invasion. And so he comes back, and we hid them everywhere. They were in the blinds. We hid one behind his desk. And again, these are tiny. My favorite of all, though, was we pulled out the wall outlet, and we put one in there. Yeah, it's brutal. All right, so he gets back, and they're everywhere. And again, Matt is like, he's a hard worker. When he puts his mind to something, it's silence, he's on task. And so he gets back, and these crickets are just chirping. And he just slowly starts to lose it, right? And he starts looking out, and he gets close to one that was behind his desk. But luckily, before he found it, the legendary Thomas Pesto actually left a dead cricket under the desk. So he almost was on to us, but then he sees the dead cricket and thinks, okay, I have a problem, right? And so the week goes on, it gets worse and worse. Matt is just looking worse and worse. He's more and more disheveled. He's just not doing well. And then by Thursday, he's like, I'm not even going in. I cannot do this anymore. I cannot work in this environment. We're calling pest control. And like, it is escalated. And for me, it's like you went into everybody else's office and you didn't hear anything. So but so he's unraveling. And finally, it starts to get to a point where he can't even step in the building. And Christine Neiman, who just has a heart of gold, was like, hey guys, this might have gone too far. And I mean, most of us would be like, keep driving, right? This is hilarious. He's gonna lose his mind. But Christine, again, heart of gold, she says, okay, it's gone too far. And we finally told him, hey, these are all in your office. And we realized we almost crossed the bridge, right? We had pushed it to its limits, and we almost burned it down. We almost burned this relationship. Matt wasn't even going to come into the church anymore. He was just losing it, and we realized we went too far. Oftentimes, we have gone too far in our relationships. We have burned the bridge. We have gone to a place where we had to cut someone out, or we were cut out. And now our relationships are withering away. Our relationships feel spent. They become burdens, and we slowly drift into isolation. And unfortunately for us, this is a fundamental part of just being human. Like this idea that we can just get burned out by the people that are around us, that we can get burned out by even the concept of relationships, and we just feel and embrace this loneliness. You see, having people around us is fundamental to our humanity. Jesus, this is what he describes when he talks about the most important part of us. This is what he says. Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Okay? So the most important thing about you is that you love God with everything, with all your being, the entirety of who you are. You love him more than life. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. All the law and the prophets hang on these two commandments. So Jesus says the most important part about you, the most important thing what the scripture is all about, that you understand, is that you love God more than anything, and you love people. You love God and you love people. This is what we are wired to do. Like, this is what we were created to be. If we want to follow Jesus, the most important thing we do is that we love God and that we love people. Everything comes down to that bottom line. And unfortunately for every single one of us, sin breaks both. It separates us and God. It drives division and wedges between each other. And so our natural tendency will actually begin to drift. As we drift away from our friends, as we drift away from our neighbors, as we drift away from our families, you will drift away from people, not towards them. And you know, honestly, I think about our culture, we are succeeding at drifting away from people. When I was young, my dad, every 2 weeks, we would go to Walmart. Saturday morning, it was Walmart day. And when I say that out loud, I immediately tense up because for my dad, it was a mission. All right, like we got paid, it's time to get groceries. And as a kid, I looked forward to it, right? Because we would literally not buy groceries for 2 weeks. And so we were surviving on scraps. So we get to the Walmart day and my dad has a plan of action, right? He knows where we're gonna park. We're gonna park by the garden center because we can walk in and we don't have to deal with people or parking. We're gonna go in, we have the optimal route in which we're gonna take to get through the store. We're gonna go to the outside aisles and then we're gonna check the inside aisles as we're on the outside aisles. And if some of them are busy, we're gonna not go in there, right? This was a mission. We were gonna not interact, we were gonna get in, we were gonna get out with zero casualties. We would get up to the cashiers and we would measure it. We'd be like, okay, which one looks fast, right? And we'd pick the one that looks fast and we'd get in their aisle. And I think about that as an adult and it's like, man, we're just trying to get in and out because we don't wanna deal with people. And if you think about it nowadays, we have succeeded in that, right? Because even the concept, I was thinking about this. Walmart used to have a guy that would stand in the entrance of the store and he would just welcome people. They're gone. You used to get the sticker like, hey, welcome to Walmart. That's gone. You don't even have to go to a cashier anymore. You can just go to self-checkout. Actually, most Walmarts, it looks like they're just self-checkout now. So we've removed the person from that. You actually don't have to go inside of the store at all. You can just actually pull up and someone will go and put their groceries in your car or your groceries in your car, hopefully. Otherwise, congrats. But you know, you're sitting there, you're waiting for the groceries, they show up and you leave. Or another level, you can just sit at home and you can order your groceries and they'll deliver it to your front door. If you want a restaurant experience, you can order it from a multitude of restaurants and the delivery driver, they will take it to your front door and they won't even say anything to you. They'll just take a picture. Have you ever taken a picture? Like so sometimes I'm a little early and I go and grab the food and they're there taking the picture. And it's like blurry, it's like Sasquatch, like you're trying to get away, right? But we've done everything we can to remove people. And we're succeeding, we're doing so well at this. Our internet relationships, like we have apps like Instagram and Facebook, and it's supposed to be connection, but really we're not talking to each other, we're just looking and we're talking past each other. We have like apps like Neighborly, right? It's supposed to be people in your neighborhood. I don't know a single one of them, but I watch all of their posts with interest, right? Like, oh my goodness, look what they just said. We don't have relationships, we have connection. And we are killing it. We are crushing being connected and we are failing in our relationships. You know, psychology has proven the value of relationships. According to the Harvard Adult Study, the largest predictor of your life satisfaction, so how satisfied you are later on in life, will come down to the quality of your close relationships. It's not your wealth, it's not your IQ, it's not your job, it's not your fame. It is the quality of the relationships of the people close to you. Lack of close relationships have shown to have profound effects on our bodies, like physical effects. The health risks of social isolation have shown to be equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Social isolation has shown to drastically increase anxiety and depression, and the strength of your social relationships also increases your ability to go through stressful situations. So here's what I really want you to grapple with that information. Because there's another level to this. Since 1990, the amount of men who say they have no close friendships, No, like there's not a single friend that is close has exponentially increased fivefold since 1990. In 2023, the US Surgeon General announced that a health crisis was here. And this health crisis is that 50% of adults have reported experiencing measurable loneliness. It was 2 years ago. 50% of adults are feeling measurable loneliness. Take a look around this room. It means 50% of us, half of this room, feels this in some capacity. We need each other. We need each other. We need people in our lives. We need close relationships. So we know that we need each other, and this is modeled in Jesus. When we look at Jesus, he's everything that we should be. And this is what he does. So Jesus, he's talking to his disciples. It's the Last Supper, and so he's sharing with them everything that he needs to say before he leaves. And this is what he says. He says, "This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." All right, so he's leaving and he says, "This is what I want you to do. This is a commandment, that you love each other as I has loved you. Greater love has no one than this, that someone lays down his life for his friends." He says, okay, love like I have loved you, and no greater love is someone who lays down their life for their friends. You are my friends when you do what I command you. So you are my friends when you do this. And no longer do I call you servants, for servants do not know what his master is doing. I have called you friends. So Jesus sets the precedent here. He says, I have called you friends. Friendship is important to the heart of God. Why do we know that? Because Jesus says it. I have called you friend. And so it's important to us. It's an invitation. It's an invitation for us to come and be a part of the love of God, to be a friend of God, and to be loved by him. And this is such an incredible thing for us, because what it tells us is that we need good friends and that God is a good friend. But when we're feeling burdened and burnt by our relationships and the things around us, when we feel spent, what do we do to get back? Right? Because again, if we're naturally drifting away from people, how do we get back? Well, again, we're going to look to the example of Jesus, and we're going to see how we can be good friends based off of his example. So the first principle I want you to learn today from the life of Jesus is that independence is overrated. Independence is overrated. Listen, I know that sounds like, but have you ever talked to a college student? You remember what it was like to be a college student or just away from home? That first night, like your whole life, you're like, I want to be independent. I don't want to be around my parents. I want to go off and do my own thing. And that first night, when you hit the bed and you start thinking, what am I going to eat tomorrow? Independence is overrated, right? But in life, we start to seek independence. And I just think part of it is just like this drift. We start to get busy. And, honestly, it's an aging thing. Like we just start to move away from people. When you're in your 20s, relationships are easy. Like psychology has proven that it is the easiest time you will have finding friends. But once you hit your 30s, everything gets crazy, right? People start having kids, careers start getting serious, family issues and drama. And so people start to drift away from their relationships as we just naturally focus on other things more. We start to get task oriented, and then we go into this like survival mode, and our relationships and friendships kind of go to the wayside because we think we're focusing on what's most important. One of my favorite TV shows is a show called Alone. And in this show, they go out and survive. How many of you have seen Alone? It's kind of depressing, right? Like, I like it because I grew up around the mountains and I'm like, man, I could survive forever. And the reality is I could not. I know that now, all right, after watching this show. And what ends up happening is these people get airdropped into this competition out in the middle of Alaska or Canada. And all they have is their little their little camcorder. And so they're talking into a camcorder and they're completely alone. They have no human interaction. And essentially, whoever survives the longest ends up winning the game. And so the longest someone goes is actually 100 days, which is pretty impressive. I'd like to think, like I said, I could go a week, but I think day 3, I'd be like, I'm out, right? But they start having friends, like they start talking to the camera. It becomes their friend. It is everything they get focused on. And you see, as there's a lack of people around them, they just start to unravel. Like psychologically, they start surfacing traumas and memories and talking to the camera. And you just see people unravel because we need people around us. And if you've watched that show, you basically realize like none of these people are okay in this environment, right? But we think we can live that way. Just task-oriented survival mode, isolation alone, independent living. When Jesus started his ministry, he was walking by the Sea of Galilee and he saw 2 brothers, Simon, who was called Peter, and Andrew, his brother, casting nets into the sea, for they were fishermen. And he said to them, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. All right, so Jesus, we love this. He calls people to follow him. He calls the disciples, and that's an exciting thing. And we want to imagine what it'd be like for Jesus to call us to, hey, come follow me and you will be fishers of men. And immediately they left their nets and they followed him. And going on from there, he saw 2 brothers, James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, in a boat with Zebedee, their father. They're mending their nets, and he called them. And immediately they left the boat and their father, and they followed him. So Jesus calls disciples to follow him, and that's such an incredible moment. And I think a lot of times we love like the drama of that moment of Jesus calling, inviting somebody to come be with him. But sometimes we forget that on the other side of that, who Jesus is. See, Jesus doesn't need anybody to do ministry. He does not need a single person. There's nothing he cannot do. He is completely okay to just do what he needs to do. He could live life alone. And when he calls these disciples, he's calling them to be his closest friends. He's calling them understanding. Guys like Peter will never quite get what he's about until after the cross. In fact, the closest time Peter gets, he makes this proclamation, he's like, you're the Lord. And then he whiffs the ball immediately after. And then he'll even deny Jesus in his most trial time of need. Jesus knows all of this is going to happen, and yet he still calls them to be his friends and to be with him, to walk with him. You see, Jesus spent time with people at the expense of himself. When we start to view our relationships as something that we can gain something from, we start to recluse because people are messy. And when we only get things, when we look at people as what we can get from them, we're kind of missing the point because, again, for the disciples and Jesus, the disciples had nothing to offer Jesus that he didn't already have. He had perfect relationship with his Father and the Holy Spirit. He had community. He needed no one, and yet he invites others in. You see, when we look at his example, he could have gone and done it by himself, but he didn't. And he called us to follow him because he's giving himself to us. Right? It's not what we give him, it's what he gives, which is himself. And so he calls us to follow him because he loves us. We are his friends simply because he loves us. And that's how relationships should be. Relationships should be a selfless love for another person simply because. It's not what you gain, but it's just motivated by a love of others. And Jesus, he didn't do life alone, so why do you think that you can? Now, you might be feeling like, yeah, I do that all the time. Like, I give myself all the time. I'm consistently giving myself away, and it is leaving me burnt out. Well, I think the next thing we need to understand from Jesus is this: boundaries are required. Boundaries are required. We have limits. Every single person in this room has a limit. And in the Gospel of Mark, Jesus has just started his ministry. He was healing and he was preaching and he was doing all of these incredible things. And he's at Peter's mother-in-law's house and he healed her, and the entire town is there, and ministry is just breaking loose. Like, revival is happening. He's healing people. They're up all night long. And, anybody who's analyzing any type of revival or ministry start, they would say, stay there and keep going. But Jesus, this is what he does. And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and he went out into a desolate place, and there he prayed. He's up all night, gets up early, goes out into isolation, separates himself away, and prays. And Simon and those who were with him were searching for him. And they found him and they said to him, everybody's looking for you, right? This was crazy. Why'd you leave? They're looking for you. There's more people, there's more needs, there's more things that people are looking for you. And he said to them, let us go on to the next town, that I might preach there also, for that is why I came out. And then he went through all of Galilee, and he preached in their synagogues and casting out demons. So in other words, Jesus wakes up early, he prays, he's unavailable, and then he moves on. He moves on. I think so many of us struggle with that concept of being unavailable and moving on. It used to be that if you worked a job years ago, if you left that job, you probably didn't talk to many of the people that you used to work with, right? Now, you become Facebook friends with everybody, and you know all of their life stories from now on. There's no moving on. Or thinking about the concept of texting and being unavailable. I'm going to confess, if I don't respond to a text message within 30 minutes, I feel guilty. Like, physically guilty. I will start off with, I am so sorry, right? Because when I text somebody, I want them to respond to me immediately. I want them to be like, I see what you said, like, I'm responding. And so the feeling of just being ignored or the feeling of being separated, like, that is a tense feeling. Like, you've ever said something to somebody and you just get like the 3 dots and like they go off and they go on again, they go off and you're like, oh man, what are they gonna say? It's agonizing. And the thought of not responding to somebody, that's like counterculture to who we are, like leaving someone on red. Someone leaving you on red, that's the worst feeling. It's like, I know you saw this. Why aren't you responding? We struggle with not being able to be available. And here's what's crazy is God, by definition, has no limits. Like, by definition, he is everywhere. He's everywhere. And in Jesus Christ, he became man, and he embraced his limits. Like, he was one man in one place at one time. He embraced our human limits. So he went out, he recharged, he went to pray, and he moved on. How many of us just actually spend time disconnected? I think we would struggle, right? Have you tried it to go off and just not respond? You feel guilty. You feel like you should be doing something more, but you're not. But that's what Jesus does. And maybe it's time for you to go away, to be unavailable, to spend time with God, and then to walk away from something. That leads us to our last point, which is that accountability is essential. Accountability is essential. Our actions have consequences. Jesus, when he's speaking to his community of followers, right, he's saying, my kingdom is going to look like this. And then this is what he says at the end of it. He says, judge not that you be not judged. For the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged. And with the measure which you use it will be measured to you. He's like, don't judge people. And how harshly you judge people is how harshly you will be judged. That's scary, okay? And then he says, why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, hey, let me take the speck out of your eye when there is a log in your own eye? This is Jesus being funny, by the way, right? Imagine that, like, hey, you've got something in your eye and you have a log in yours. Like, dude, we got to worry about that thing. You have a log in your eye. And then Jesus continues on. He says, you hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly, and you will be able to take the speck out of your brother's eye. And then he says, do not give to dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. So what is Jesus saying? He's describing a situation in which you are trying to do good. The key is describing a situation in which you are seeking to help somebody. He's describing a situation where you're pouring out God's love and God's wisdom, and they are trampling it. Right? They trample it under their feet, and then it's crazy because it says, and then they turn and attack you. They don't value what you're sharing. They don't value your good intentions, and now they've turned on you. And he's saying, you need to remove yourself from this situation. In this situation, accountability is the greatest thing that you can do. Allow them to just do what they're going to do and to remove yourself from it. And again, accountability is not revenge. Boundaries, they're not bitterness. Removing yourself can actually be the most loving thing that you can do because you're no longer playing by their game in the mud and the muck, getting dragged down, and the things that you value and love getting dragged down and trampled with it. There's another side of it, though, and Jesus says we are going to be held accountable to the manner in which we judge others, which means we need people around us saying, hey, you have a log in your eye. I was cooking chicken with my family. It was Thanksgiving. We had everybody home, and we were in a new house, and so the family's everywhere. We got like nieces and nephews, and so I'm grilling chicken up, and I kind of am one of those guys that's like, I'm going to grill for the family, right? Like I'm going to show off. And so I'm prideful in my cooking, and so we're cooking inside, and I'm grilling this chicken for everybody. Super excited, but I made a mistake. We didn't turn the hood on. And so a couple minutes later, all of the alarms just start going off, and it is shrieking. It's like a jet engine. It's the worst, okay? We can't hear each other. Everyone starts yelling. Babies start crying. And my perfectly good dinner, which I was going to be so proud of, is now, it's like in my mind, it's ruined. And it gets worse because like it starts lasting longer and longer, and about 10 minutes go by, and my father-in-law, he's a man of action, so he's looking for like a ladder and something to knock the alarm off the wall with, right? And I'm like, don't do that. We need those. But when alarms go off, right, and things get crazy, and the chaos of the moment happens, we get upset, right? If I was to tell you after that day, I took all of those alarms and I threw them away, you would be like, you need those, Ryan. What if your house is on fire? Well, I really didn't like how it interrupted what I wanted to do. I really didn't like how it made me feel. I don't like that it interrupted my dinner. I don't like how it made me feel small. See, accountability is an alarm, not an attack. And we often remove our fire alarms, and our lives are derailed, and we are quietly putting ourselves into danger. You need people that you can invite into your life that can speak truth and tell you, you have a log in your eye. You cannot fix what you don't see, and you need people to see for you. You cannot fix a relationship if you do not allow truth into it. And the depth of your relationships will be defined by how deep you allow truth into your soul. If you don't want accountability, you don't have to let the truth in, and your relationships will falter with it. So, looking at this example of Jesus, we need to understand something. When we look at him in all of his glory, in all of his goodness, in his friendship, in his kindness, like we understand something profoundly human. When we look at his perfection, we must realize there's something wrong with me. I cannot live like him. I have a log in my eye that has separated me. Jesus is the great example. He is everything that we are meant to be and how we were meant to be. And he died on a cross as a part of that example of self-giving love. He had nothing to gain, and he gave himself. And you have an opportunity here today to step into that, to break down the barriers between you and God and between you and the people around you. If you want to choose Jesus today, you can do that right now. Let's pray. Lord Jesus, I trust you. I love you. I recognize where my sin has led me away from you, God. And I pray here this morning to make you my Lord and my Savior. I give you my life, Lord. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now, if you prayed that prayer, if you decided to follow Jesus, listen, this is the beginning of everything. Like, it is the greatest thing that you can ever do. Because to be connected to God is to live freely. It's being able to choose relationships, not for what you gain, but because you can love freely again, because you are loved. And we want to know about that. If you just gave your life to Christ, our team, we're going to be out on the deck. We'd love to meet you, to talk through what that might be. Our prayer team is up here at the front too. After the service, we'd love to pray with you. As well as on your Connect card, we say mark the moment. There's a box that says, today I've committed my life to Christ. Check that box and we would love to resource you and walk alongside you in this. So next week, we are going to be starting a brand new series, and I am so excited. We are going to be looking at the last words of Jesus, and he says some pretty impactful things. So I'm super excited. Guys, we will see you next week. God bless. Boo.